Let's go, family. You already know what time it is. Yeah, let's go. We're gonna start in a few minutes. Let's get it. All right, let's get it. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having an amazing Monday. You already know it's your boy Crazy Big the God in the building, getting ready, to drop some quick value for you guys today. Today's gonna be an amazing, powerful, humbling topic. Excuse me. So today's topic is actually gonna be the power of humility, right? The power of being humble. The power of when you're humble, that's when God will exalt you, right? So let's dive into this, right? What is why must we have humility, right? Why must we have humility, right? Good question. So the reason why we need to have good humility is because when we have humility, you know, we go down, right? But God increases. We decrease, but God increases, right? But when we're not humble, right, we will get humbled by God, right? And this I had a huge problem being humble. I did this like I was off by far. Like I was not humble at all, and I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't aware of how to be humble, right? I was just like going off of, you know, what I learned when I was a kid, and just being you know, ignorant and just like not being respectful, right? Or just being in my own, caught up in my own ways on how I do things. And as God began to enlighten me on being humble, right? And being humble, I was able to grow more. I was able to see things through another light. I decreased, right? And he increased, right? You see how that works? And when I decreased and he increased, took over, and he kind of like showed me how to walk, how to treat people. Even if they like you or don't like you. We still need to be humble in the kingdom and walk with God, right? And by me being humble, it just has been a shift in my character, how I talk to people, how I interact with people, and just to be a humble individual, and that's when you truly get exalted. I feel like that's when you truly get exalted, and for who God needs you to be. But if you're not humble, right? If you're not um putting in the work to be humble, and you're acting with arrogance, and you're just complaining, you're murmuring, you will stay at that level. It's like staying average, right? That's pretty much what it is. You're just staying average. But the moment you stay humble, God will exalt you. You begin to go higher and higher and higher with him, right? But it takes baby steps. We gotta be humble, and we gotta know when to be humble, right? We gotta know, like, okay, let me check in with my spirit real quick. Wait, hold on. I can't be doing the same things I normally would do. I must decrease, he must increase, so I can pass the test, so I can come up higher in my character. So I can pass the test and come up higher in my character, so that way God can use me more, right? This is the power of humility. Once you're humble, he sees it, he'll exalt you. The moment you feel like you're too good, you're being you have your own ego, edging God out. He's like, okay, I'm gonna step back. Go ahead, do what you gotta do. I'm gonna step back. You know, but we can't allow that to happen. We gotta be aware the ego is edging God out, and you will fall. Right? He's like, yo, I'm out of here. Phew, and you by yourself. Right? And then once that happens, it's scary. It's a scary road. When God leaves your presence and he's not there, that's a scary place to be. right? That's a scary, 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 scary place to be. So we always have to remember to humble ourselves in every situation, no matter good or bad, right? We got to learn how to deal with our problems, how to humble ourselves, how to come up higher in our character, because that's truly what he's looking for. He wants to see your change. He wants to get rid of the ignorance, the ego, the complaining, the murmuring, right? You mastering your emotions, you mastering yourself. That's what he's looking for. He wants to see that you can control yourself, that you have full control of who he's creating you to be, that you can stand where he's taking you, right? And he works on these little areas of our lives to show us, okay, you need help in that area, you need help in this area, right? And it's all getting you ready for the goal, for the bigger lifestyle that he has for you. So you can stand where he's gonna place you. But if you're not seeing it through those lenses, you will miss what he's trying to do. Right? Everything, even this video that I'm doing right now, is for you guys, and it's also for what he's getting ready for me to do next, right? Without doing this video and working on the baby steps, I'm not going to be able to stand for what he's going to do next in my life, right? It all adds up. We have to start switching our perception to that, to everything that we're going through right now. The trials and tribulations is only to get us ready for what's next. And that's true. If you think about it, all of the jobs, everything that you've been through in life got you up to this point where you're at right now, right? Everything that happened is to get you ready for where you're at right now and where you're going. But a lot of us don't understand. Some of us are like getting mad when we get tested, not understanding what God is trying to do, worshiping other idols, moving away from the word, and we got to be able to be aware of what he's really doing and how he's strengthening us. And we also have to stay away from people that's trying to pull us down, right? Family members that's trying to take us away from the word, right? We got to be super, super mindful of who we have around us, because remember, the enemy will work through your families. The devil will work through your family members to pull you down, to be at a low vibration. They see you up here, and excuse me, this happened to me too, right? Your family see that you're going higher. Oh nah, let's pull him back down with us. Misery loves company. The devil loves company. This is your time to break free, right? I'm not responsible for nobody. You're not responsible. I'm not responsible for nobody happiness. They're responsible for their own happiness, right? They see the light. They see you shining. They're going to try to pull you down. Nope, not today. Your family is love from a distance, right? Because if it's not love from a distance, you're going to end up ruining yourself, right? And life is too short for you to ruin yourself over something like over a family member that's not believing in the same thing that you believe in, right? We got to be aware of how people are trying to pull us down and separate us from God, right? And it could be your own family members. It happened to me, right? It happened to me, right? So not to get off topic, we got to stay humble. We got to stay humble to see the blessings, to see the miracles of God, right? We definitely got to stay humble. We got to stay blessed and to see the miracles of God, like the biggest thing of walking with God, one of the biggest foundations of walking with God is to be humble, right? To be humble, stay focused, no drifting, right? That's one of the key essentials in walking in the kingdom, right? That's one of the biggest things. And I share that with you because the humility has been I thank God for the humility. It took me a while. Trust me. Like, it took me a while. I was a wild animal, so to speak. And I was just like not understanding the power of the humility until I started to be humble and started to see the effects of what was on the other side of it. And then I was like, oh, okay. Now I understand. I must decrease, he must increase. And he could only do that through humility. When you're humble enough, right? You're saying, okay, God, I'm going to be humble enough. You can take over, right? You can use me. I'm just a vessel. You can use me. I'm humble myself. You see that? And now he is able to use you, and then you can actually see as God is using you, you can start to understand and like, oh, okay, this is how to move, this is how to be humble, this is how to talk to people. It all comes from being humble, right? If you're humble enough, you would know how to speak to someone. But if you're not humble, you're not going to be able to learn how. You're not going to be able to speak to the person the right way. You might speak to them, you might bleed on them, or you might just speak with an attitude or something. But when you're humble, it gets checked right there. And you come up higher in your character, your personality, it starts to flourish, it starts to bloom, you start to grow, just by being humble. And then that's when you see the new version of yourself. Boom. You know what I'm saying? He must decrease and no wait, you must decrease, he must increase. Right? That's the power of humility. So powerful. Super, 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 super powerful, right? All right. So I'm gonna leave you guys with this, right? If you don't be humble, right? If you don't humble yourself, you would never see the higher version of yourself. If you don't humble yourself, you would never, never see the higher version of yourself. And if you don't turn to God, you would never see the highest version of yourself and what He's trying to do in your life. Right? Walking with God is like the best. You get the highest version of yourself. You get the promises of God in His timing. Right? You get the riches and you get the He rains down the riches from heaven on His timing. Like all of this is the promise of God that He says that He's gonna do, but only on His timing, and only if you walk with Him and stay faithful. Right? But these are the blessings of walking with God. You can't serve no other God and get these same blessings. It's only one God, and the effects of having one God is just amazing. With Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit is just so much peaceful, right? We don't have to do too much. His burdens is easy and light, and you get joy, peace, and freedom, and you get the strength and the power to walk with Him. Come on, you know. So, with that being said, I hope you guys have a blessed, an amazing, amazing, and amazing Monday. Let's grow. Let's become 1% better, right? Don't forget about you. You matter. And don't let nobody take you away from the will of God and what He's trying to do in your life, right? Nobody is stronger than God's Spirit. And if God is before you, who could be against you? Let's grow 1% better.